Page 42, Etude, Opus 10, number 3. This is one of the more popular etudes from Chopin. I'd like to talk about this etude just a bit. I'm going to start with the right hand. The melody is the top note in the right hand, and the melody is really important. And I mean, we got to hear it. Without it, this is just a bunch of nice sounding noise, as far as I'm concerned. So it's here. Okay, it's got some interesting rhythm problems, but if you'll just do a 1 and 2 and 3 and the left hand's got all eighth notes. The left hand can help you with the counting of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. If you just keep the right hand in sync with the left hand, you should be okay. Go down to, on page 42, the third line down and the second measure. You have a little grace note there, that B natural to the A. That's played very quickly, and I play it on the beat. Some people play it before the beat. The left hand isn't playing a note there, so it's hard to tell if it's on the beat or before the beat. All right, so it's a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and next measure, same thing. Now the fingering they're showing is fine. I will make one minor suggestion to it over on page 43. And the idea is we want to treat the melody special, right? So look at the second line, first measure. There in the right hand. I'm just talking about melody here. It's here. Okay. We'd like to play that pretty much legato. It's got 2 note slurs at first. And then it's 4 notes, and then it comes up. I'm going to suggest the first 2 beats are fine. Okay, then on the third beat, instead of a 1-4, I'm going to suggest a 1-3, so I can connect it. And then a 5 on the E, and now you can do a 3 on the C sharp, and a 4 on the D. And then lift up the hand up and go up. It's like a new phrase, all right? Okay. All I'm suggesting is the third beat is a 3-5 instead of a 4-5, whatever they've got on there. One minor thing on the fingering for the right hand at the bottom of page 43. In the third line down, last measure of the right hand, you're playing that half note with the fourth finger. When you get down to the last line, I recommend you play that half note with the little finger. That way you can do a 4, 3, 2, and then you can do a 1-5 on the next one. Okay. In the left hand, as I said, you just got these chords, they're usually broken chords. So just follow those throughout. At the very end, at the bottom of page 43, on that arpeggiated chord, I play that very slowly because this is a nice gentle piece, and that's at the end of the piece, and you had a retardando in front of it anyway, so rather than this, I do this. I even retardando the arpeggio, or the arpeggiated chord. So as I'm going up, I'm slowing down on that also. Now we won't do that when we play with a metronome, but when you're doing it on your own, that's an interpretive thing to give you something to think about, to try out. Let's talk about the pedal. At the top of page 42, at the end of the first line, they have a ped simile again, meaning keep pedaling it the way they've got it on the first line, which means change it, it's legato pedal, and you change it every 2 beats. Yuck. I would like to offer some suggestions. You want to get a pencil and mark these in, it's up to you. You can experiment with them and see. But there's a lot of mushiness going on if you use that pedaling, and I don't like that. I just don't like the sound. Now there is some mushiness anyway, it's kind of inherent in the piece. Alright, so the first line, just go ahead and do it the way they said. On those measures where you have an eighth note in the right hand at the end of the measure, for instance, the first measure of the second line, in the right hand, the very last note in that measure is an eighth note. Okay. On those measures, I would suggest you lift the pedal up as you play that eighth note, sort of. So that measure would be this. And then put it down after you play the notes in the next measure. It just helps to take out a little bit of the mushiness. There's a break in the phrase between the end of the second line and the beginning of the third line, so we're on a little silence. So you lift the pedal up with the hands at the end of the second, and then put it down after you play the notes in the third line there. So we get a little silence. So here, over on page 43, first line. At the beginning of the line, I don't recommend pedaling the first two beats. This, because it's just too blurry. So don't put the pedal down until after you play the notes in the third beat. Then in the second measure, change the pedal after the first beat and the second beat. So to do the first two measures of 43, it's this. Like so, with the pedaling. Then I recommend between the second and third measure of the first line, lift the pedal up so we get a little silence. It's like a new phrase, so you're here. Okay, so the pedal comes up with the hands, is what I'm saying. Then you're fine pretty much until you get down to the end, the last line, the last two measures of the piece. You're here. I recommend lifting the pedal after you play the half note C in the left hand. Don't pedal these eighth notes, because this is at the end. We don't want any blurriness there, so it's here. So to demonstrate the last two measures, it's this way. All come up at the same time, and for that fermata at the end, it's 1.5 counts to a dotted quarter note, so I'm going to hold it for 3 counts. I can get away with that total, huh? So it simply means the last measure is going to have 5 counts in it, but the counts start when I play the F in the left hand. 1, 2, 3. Right. Some people don't start the counts until you play the top note, but I start them when I play the first note. Let's try this out slowly, very slowly, and see what happens. It has an eighth note pickup, so I'm going to give us 3.5 counts, and then we'll come in together. So it's a good one if you have to just play with me one hand at a time until you get it. Be patient on this one, because it's not an easy piece to play. So right hand here, here. Foot's on the pedal. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and go.